everybody. Thank you for joining me today. So today's video is going to be super quick. I just wanted to take the technique that we did and turn them into final cards. So I've trimmed them down to be 4 by 5 1/4. And on each of them, I went around the edges with the distress inks to kind of give it just a nice colored edge. Okay. And then on each of the cards, I'm going to do a matte piece, which is in the black paper here. And that's going to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And you can see I pulled this one up because I forgot to trim it down. Sometimes it's like I'd be trying to go so fast to get stuff, put together and put on the video. I forget a simple step, but yeah. So I know for sure that it should be 5 3/8 by 4 1/8 for your mat. Okay, and I'm just gonna real quick here put all the mats down onto our white cardstock. And the cardstock that I'm using is the Neenah Solar White. It's the Crest, I believe. It's the 110 pound. So it's nice and heavy. It definitely can withstand a lot of layers and things like that on the paper. If you use a paper that is lighter than the 110, so if it's like from Michael's or a place like that where it's like those very lightweight papers, then what you want to do is layer up on the front and then also layer on the inside for where you're going to put your sentiment, and that will give it more of an even balance instead of like the front being really heavy and the back being droopy in a way. So we're just finishing up. I'm going to attach. I wanted to make sure I did this one first so I had it going in the right direction, because I wanted it to be a side top folding, like on the side. And then these I'm going to put more for the vertical instead of the horizontal. Even though the flower definitely could have been even the one I'm putting on now with the doily, because I put it off kind of off centered a little bit. That could work going in the same direction too. But I just figured, I knew for sure I wanted to do that one, and then the other ones I just continued doing like a regular card. And the measurements I gave you are for an A2 size card. If you hear people talking about A2 size, the card is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. That is an A2 size. And it's probably like the most standard size card that I think we use in America. I know obviously you can do 5 by 7 or your different sizes for your square cards, but I would think most of the people making cards especially on YouTube and stuff, I'm going to say most of your sizes are going to be the A2. Now I wanted to do sentiments for the one that's got the sun rays. I knew I wanted to put like a circle in the center, so I have a small sentiment that I'm going to stamp onto some white paper, and I'm going to punch out. Hold on one second. I'm just grabbing the punch and some paper, and then so it'll sit there right there in the center, and I'm just going to grab a little block and then stamp right down. And I want to say that the sentiment says like hello sweet friend, or hello friend. Hold on. Oh, hello dear friend is what it says. And I'm just stamping using some of the Versaclear ink. And if you're worried about smearing with that, you can heat emboss it with clear, and it would definitely protect it. And then I just went around the edge with this one with the hickory smoke, so that way it would have a little bit of dimension on it as well. And then that card is done. And then for the next ones, I knew I wanted to use I have thank yous, and I think a happy birthday I wanted to use. So I'm just going to use some of the Versamark ink. And we're going to heat those up using the Brutus Monroe Alabaster White Embossing Powder. So I got that. And then I'm just going to do one more happy birthday up here in the top. And then once they're heat embossed, I'll trim them down and put them on each of the other three card fronts. And I'm just taking just a little scrap piece of paper, sprinkling it with the white embossing powder. And I try not to tap too hard because I don't want all the powder to get off of the actual sentiment itself. Sometimes I feel like, you can hit it too hard and then it doesn't look very full. And if you're using a hand, like a stamp block, the likelihood of you being able to stamp it again in the same spot and get nice coverage is, it's too chancy. If I use my my Misty tool, I probably would have just stamped it again with the Versamark and then repowdered it to get it like a really bright white or a nice thick embossing, I guess embossed look you would say. But these turned out fine, and I'm just gonna rub the powder off so that way it doesn't look all ghosty on my paper, and then we're going to trim it down. And I would say if you have dies that could trim it down, or like little sentiment dies, those could definitely be helpful. I don't have a lot of table space, so for me, bringing out like my die tools and stuff like that isn't always conducive, so that's why I'm just trying to trim it down as best as I can using my paper trimmer. And on one of the ends here, I'm sorry I'm off camera, I'm just doing a quick little banner cut, and then I'm going to do one more, cutting it straight here, and then I'm going to trim it down on this side and do a banner. I believe it's a banner end on this side as well. And there you go. So for attaching these, because these are all have the glitter paste on them, the texture, it doesn't do well with just ATG tape, okay? So you're going to have to use wet glue or like foam. And so that's why I decided to pull out some of my foam tape, so that way it gives the sentiment a little bit of a lift off of the image, and then it's going to attach and I'll know it'll be secure. Anything that you use, if you're using fun foam instead of like already adhesive backed foam, just make sure you use like a wet glue, so that way it attaches to that texture. And there are our final projects, and you can do things to add to this. If you wanted to, you could put sequins on it. You could do enamel dots, but I don't know. For me, I think the beautiful stencil work with the glimmer paste on top is really all you need. And here are the close-ups. I mean, look at that sparkle. Even just, in these close-up photos, you can see it's really sparkly and fun. And you can do so much with these, with the different color combos. And I don't know about you guys, but I love stencils. I like collecting them. I like getting them. You can do so many techniques where, besides with the embossing paste and the glitters, with the ink blending. It's just, there's a lot of options. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I will have linked at the very end the previous video where we actually created the backgrounds. So that way, if you didn't see that video first, you can go back and watch that. And I'll have links down below to Scrapbooking with Me, boutique.com, and the Facebook pages. So thank you guys again, and I hope you have a great day.